If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Player Performance, the morning show, Thursday, June 19th, 2025. The Shark and the Gun coming off a great show on Sunday. If you guys tailed every single play on that show, you went 11-3. We're going to detail the first 9 games on the card today. J.A. will be on here this afternoon with Coach Rick for the evening games. It is an opportunity to dominate. Gunz, what's going on, brother?
Man, we've been doing great on this show. Even the Saturday card did great. I mean, we're on our 4th show here. If you haven't been following along with the picks, you should, because we give the best advice and the information right here on the J.A. Cavalier channel and whylose.com. And I can't wait to break down the early matinee games for the Thursday slate. Shark, let's do it.
As we said, we're talking the first 9. Hope you guys had a great evening. It is the morning. It is Thursday. MLB Player Performance starts now.
I lit the bright lights, the type, the crowd lights. Where you at, ballers? Ladies, hurry and men, they wanna be me, they paid to come see me. Where you at, ballers?
Thursday's theme is money. First game on the card, Interleague Baseball, 12:40 in Cincinnati. Twins at Reds, closing this series with an early matinee. Chris Paddock at Nick Martinez. Really difficult game. We give you guys conversation on every game. Gunz and I were just talking about this. We're in the lab. We're trying to figure it out. We don't have a lot on this one. We actually opened the previous show saying we didn't love a game also involving Cincinnati. Cincinnati, what's going on? Give us some data. Gunz, do we have anything in this game?
I mean, all I could do is give you the information that I put together when I was doing the cap. The problem is the line didn't really correlate to the cap, so it was very difficult to really figure out an official play on this one. But you look at Chris Paddock, he just absolutely struggled. He's 3-11 straight up in his last 14 starts. At least Minnesota is an 0-7 straight up as a favorite, which, I mean, if he's at the minus 101 line or more, he's 0-7 straight up. But the totals on this one, and I think with these two pitchers, maybe there is an angle here to take the total. Minnesota's 5-2 to the under, and Paddock starts when the total is 8.5 or more. And then you got to look at Paddock when he's been, I guess you would consider him the dog. It's getting towards a coin flip at this point. He's only given up 5 runs in 7 starts in first 5s, and that includes 4 straight shutouts. So he has the capability of keeping the score very low. And then Nick Martinez on the other side for the Cincinnati Reds. He's 3-1 in his last 4 home starts, and he's given up 1.1 runs per 5 innings in that favorite role, which is minus 101 or more. And then the under has really been prevalent in a lot of these Martinez starts. 5-1 to the under when the total is 8.5 or more, which we have in this situation with Martinez. And I think there's a little bit of, everybody looking at Martinez and a lot of overs that have hit in his last 4 starts. 3 of those out of his last 4 starts have hit, but those have been all on the road, not at home. So what you have is a dynamic between road versus home pitcher and Martinez. And then you have Paddock that has a capability of pitching well, and with his numbers should be able to pitch well versus his Reds team. I haven't made it official yet, and I need to look at this a little bit further to dissect it to see if the angle really is solidified. But if there's any angle on this one that I would take, I'd look at the total and I would look at the under. But unofficially, I'm not going to be touching this one.
Yeah, it's a tough game. And these matinees, obviously, on getaway days, travel days, can be very difficult. And this is purely just data deficient. Obviously, you guys know Nick Martinez has kind of flirted back and forth with being a starter, being a reliever. He played for the Padres only going back a couple years. Just so many moving parts. Chris Paddock, basically the same story. Also used to play for the Padres, interestingly enough. I'm sure these guys actually know each other off the field reasonably well. But I'm not entirely sure how much that comes into predictability here. Chris Paddock has not faced Cincinnati since June 18th, 2021. Crazily enough, that's almost 4 years to the day. Bizarre. But he was pitching for San Diego at the time. The matchup data is so scattered. Gunz giving you the breakdown. I honestly really have no idea. It's going to be a tough game. Let the line tell you the story. You rarely ever see an MLB game where both sides are precisely minus 110. A lot of moving parts. and we also will keep it moving. Next game on the card, much more interesting stuff here. National game in the Bronx, 105. Yankees hosting the Angels to close this series. Carlos Rodon, Tyler Anderson, part 2. Talking about data deficient in the first matchup, this is data abundant. These pitchers faced off against each other in Los Angeles going back to May 27th, 3-2 Yankees. We love the data. We love the bounce back for the Yankees. The Yankees have been incapable to score the baseball for the last 6 or 7 games. I think an explosion might come this afternoon. Gunz, I believe you align.
Yeah, talk about a team that is due to really come out and get some runs. It's this Yankee squad. I mean, they're paying this roster for all this offense and really hasn't come to fruition, at least probably since the Red Sox series, if you can really say that, even before that. But when you look at these two pitchers, yes, they have matched up with each other in Anderson and Rodon. I'll get to that in a second, but I want to talk about Anderson in his road starts. He's 6-1 to the run lines, 5-2 straight up, and he's 6-1 to the over in his last 7 starts. Then he's got to look how Anderson has performed against the AL East. He's 4-1 to the run line, 4-1 to the over in those spots. Also, 10-2 to the run line when Anderson's the starter as a dog for the LA Angels. So while he doesn't get the wins per se, he does keep it close. And, we could be seeing a 1-score affair going into this game on Thursday. And then Carlos Rodon, left-handed pitcher. He's got a .99 whip. He's got an expected ERA that is lower than his current, just slightly, with a 2.79 expected ERA. But the numbers here on the run line are a little bit, damning here for Rodon. 4-11 to the run line, and Rodon starts 2-6 to the run line at home. Also, you got to look at the Yankees, 1-5 to the run line in Rodon starts when they're a heavy favorite, which they are in this one at -160 or more. And both pitchers have matched up. May 27th, the game ended at 3-2. Now LA Angels were a dog at home at +184 in that game. You're seeing that land a lot higher in this one, which is kind of solidified more of a Yankee side. But the total in that game was 8.5. Now you're seeing this total here hit at 9.5, an uptick from the previous matchup. I'm seeing 9.5s on the board right now, and I think that's the way you would go with this one. So officially on the show, give me the LA New York Yankees over 9.5, and I lean towards the run line on the LA Angels.
Yeah, it's going to be a collaboration. We're going to give you guys a few officials on the matinee card here. This is one of them. You can actually get 8.5 currently on Caesars at -135. I'm going to drop that, Gunz. If you want to get on that for the show, -135, let me know.
Yeah, I'm seeing 9.5s now on FanDuel. I think I'm seeing 9s on DraftKings. Little juicy
at -135, but I do think important. Those of you guys who have been betting baseball with us since early April, these lines are very tight. I'm willing to lay an extra little bit of juice here to get 8.5. So I'm going to go with 8.5 -135. That is Caesars as we record this show. But really jumping off this, and Gunz, you make all the accurate points. Tyler Anderson is a home pitcher. He is not a road pitcher. His road numbers outside of the division are absolutely abysmal. 19 1/3 innings pitched, 29 hits, 6 walks, 18 earned runs. And as you said, this is line functionality at its finest. You saw pitchers duel in LA. That's what we said. Anderson pitches well at home. Now the line comes up on the road for teams that have not scored in what seems like an eternity. And this is the polar opposite of some of these getaway games where the pitchers just dominate. And this is where the lineups explode. And just talk about Carlos Rodon for a second. He's had a bunch of games that are very similar to this on his calendar this year. He is 2-0 home matinees on a Thursday. And that is very important because Thursday is a unique day. It's a small calendar day in baseball. The games are in the middle of the afternoon. The fact that he's performed well and now the books are moving the line up significantly on the total should tell you something. Those two environments, Thursday, March 27th against Freddie Peralta and Milwaukee, Yankees win. Key point, 4-2. Line was low, 7.5. So books liked an under there. And Thursday, May the 22nd, also in the middle of the afternoon on Thursday against Texas, 1-0 final against Nathan Eovaldi, even lower line, 6.5. So books are seeing all this stuff under in LA. Carlos Rodon unders on lower lines. the books are moving it up, and the Yankees and the Angels are going to explode this afternoon with the bats. Collaboration official, the Shark and the Gun, MLB player performance, the morning show. Take over 8.5 and let's cash. Give it a movement. Also 105 in Washington, D.C. Rockies Nationals closing this series at 105. And ultimately, really interesting story here of two teams going in opposite directions. And I think going back about a week and a half, you would have said, what do you mean two teams going in opposite directions? Nats are going up. Rockies are going down, right? No. It has reversed very, very quickly. All of a sudden, the Rockies look like an upstart team that has figured something out, and the Nationals feel like they are absolutely falling off a cliff. Trevor Williams, I can't really get to the side. Chase Dollander, I also can't get to the side. I do think you might see more runs this afternoon. Gunz, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think when you look at these two pitchers, actually, when you look at these two teams and you've seen how this series has gone, you would have sworn that the Nats and the Rockies switched uniforms and decided to play for the opposite side, because this Colorado team is showing up to play in a lot of these situations. But Chase Dollander, of course, that top prospect for the Rockies, he's pitched better on the road than he has at home. He has a 4.54 ERA a 4.50 ERA on the road, 9.58 ERA at home. His expected ERA is 5.23, which is a notch lower than what his current is at 6.57. Under pitcher on the road, 6-0 to the under in Dollander's road starts, but he's 1-5 straight up in those situations. Trevor Williams on the other side has a lower expected ERA than his current. He has a 5.71 ERA, but he has a 3.96 expected ERA, and he's also 2-0 to the under as a favorite, both at home. So the trends are kind of telling you to go to the under. However, when you look at this number sitting here currently, I'm seeing 9.5s there. That is kind of a red flag to me to not take. You would think this line would be like, if you're talking about a road Colorado underline, I'm thinking 8.5 or something like that. I'm not thinking about 9.5, 10. And this could go up by the time the game tips off, I should say, or actually first pitch. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. We're talking basketball, football. What are we even talking about anymore? Everything's in my brain. You got to look at the weather on this one too. Weather in the area has been off and on. It's been raining all week. I'm in the DMV area. I should know. So we got to look out for that on this early game. Everything's telling me to take the under. The number is not telling me to take the under. So it's a complete pass for me.
Yeah, when I was looking at this, we had talked about this on the Sunday show. We said Chase Dollander was pitching at Atlanta against Spencer Strider. We told you guys that was going to be a margin win for the Braves and an under. Now we're telling you an opposite story. And this is the beauty of these conversations. We see the zigzag effect with these pitchers. And Dollander this year is incomprehensibly, in my opinion, 6-0 versus the road under. That is a trend that has to reverse. And this number is indicating it. At 9 or 9.5 here. And one really interesting thing, as we really detail these Thursday afternoon games being so environmentally unique for pitchers, only road start this year for Dollander on this calendar, Thursday afternoon at Kansas City on April 24th. His worst start of the year on the road, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 walks, 5 earned runs. The line in that game was only 8.5. So books saw him terrible in that environment. 8.5, and moving even further up. And final point on this, Trevor Williams is a journeyman. We have a lot of data on this guy. He's really kind of the polar opposite of rookie Chase Dollander here. But Trevor Williams was actually 6-0 at home out of division dating back to the beginning of last year, which, again, was totally unsustainable. Also, bizarrely, 6-0 being the metric point there. He's 0-3 since. So he hit that 6-0 cap point. He's 0-3. I think it's almost identical, and he hasn't been performing particularly well recently at Nats Park. So this is also an over. This is a lean. This will be a free play. This is not at the same quality as the Yankees over. But if you guys want to bet this game, free play on this, take the over. You can get 9 slightly juiced on DraftKings, minus 123. Your best price on 9.5, bet MGM or Caesars plus 100, dead even, profit or loss. Take the over, and let's keep it moving. 110. We got a couple games, actually 3 games this afternoon that are makeups from last night. Huge storm system across the country. more rainouts than you really ever see in Major League Baseball. It seems like it's the entire Midwest and Mid-Atlantic at this point. Gunz certainly knows very well being in the backyard of the Nats. But speaking Pirates-Tigers, we got two interesting games here in this doubleheader. We get two aces, but they're not facing each other. In the first one, you get Tarek Skubal. The second one, you get Paul Skeens. I was listening to some guys hot take this on ESPN talking about why ace pitchers kind of avoid each other. I agree. Give us Skubal versus Skeens. It's the same day. Give us some entertainment. Not going to happen. You get Andrew Haney on the hill. Detroit's laying minus 335. Just a blowout line. It's kind of a disaster to cap. Any thoughts, Gunz?
I mean, I lean towards the under just because this is a typical under Skubal line. It's almost like looking at Paul Skeens. I use that type of barometer too, if you want to look at the total and Paul Skeens starts. But Skubal, just an under pitcher, but we have to look to the other side for the other pitcher to really understand if this is really a solidified under. This is why I took the under. If you looked at my card on Telegram, I had the under in this specific matchup. And I still think there's validity to it, even though these guys are kind of shifting into the next day because the books are not moving the line. They basically made it the very same as far as the side and the total. When you look at the pitching with Heaney, when the total is 8 or less, he's 6-0 to the under. So this is another guy that is a good pitcher in this matchup. So, and it seems like everybody, Skubal, Cy Young pitcher, still pitching, one of the more dominating, if not the most dominating pitcher in baseball. It seems like every time he goes against another pitcher, they're going to play their best ball. That's why you see a lot of these unders in these situations. And Heaney, quite frankly, can pitch with anybody. He pitches with a lot of unders. The Pittsburgh offense, really not that great. So they have to have stellar pitching if to stay in a lot of these games. So with all that being said, if there's a lean on this one, I still think there's a continuation from the previous bet I made on Wednesday. I think we can go with the under here with Heaney and Skubal on the mound.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I'm going to co-sign this. It's a free play. It's a lean, but the under is the only way you can go in this game. And it's actually getting steamed down now. Is it 7.5 open in some markets? It's at 7 and it's juiced at 7. This might actually reach 6.5. And it's precisely what you said. Tarek Skubal, reigning Cy Young Award winner. The Pirates have a very pedestrian lineup. We were talking about this last week. They basically had the same amount of runs as the Rockies through about 65 games when the Rockies were not playing like they are now. This Pittsburgh lineup is very pedestrian. And honestly, for Pittsburgh fans out there in the Three Rivers area, this is kind of a shame. I mean, you have Paul Skeens. You have Andrew Haney, also a journeyman. I mentioned Trevor Williams in his 30s. I think Andrew Haney's right around there. He's been around for a while. He's pitching well. They have decent pitching. Bailey, what's his name? Bailey Falter. He's been fairly elite, honestly. They just have no bats. It's like, guys, come on. You're a professional team. You can't pay some talent to get some runs. They can't score. Skubal will keep them under 2.5 runs, and Haney probably will match. I see this game finishing somewhere around 3-2, 4-2, or 4-1. That's why it's juiced to 335, and the under is getting steamed. We like the Tigers to win by at least 2 runs and a game to go under. Keeping it moving here, another rainout makeup, 210. Cardinals at White Sox, south side of Chicago. Can't say we're going to be too thrilled with this one from a numerical standpoint. Last night, Sonny Gray was laying an authoritative number, minus 180 versus Sean Burke. Now he's laying up 135. And Gunz and I were talking about this before the show. We can't entirely figure out why the line is moving with the exact same pitching matchup by about 45 points just overnight. We suspect it's because people think now it's an off-schedule game, and the better pitcher may not match up to the expectation of a heavy minus 180, and the team is traveling on an expected off day. I believe it was. God, this is tough, and also just the line moving against Sonny Gray is very disheartening.
Yeah, that's the if we're talking about that game, I think that one's more the I'm just looking at the numbers here. So what I'm seeing right now is the starting pitchers in that game for the Cardinals White Sox for the 2-11 game. It's going to be Fetty and Burke. So when you look at this matchup,
they just switched.
No, yeah, I'm seeing Fetty and Burke right now on the board. So So it's basically the original matchup that was in this Thursday matchup. So let's cap it on that for this show. Eric Fetty, St. Louis, 4.97 expected ERA, but he's got a 3.65 ERA. So he's expected to even regress more than he already has because St. Louis is 1-7 straight up in Fetty's last 8 road starts. But also 1-5 straight up versus AL teams. He hasn't performed well against the AL. 4-1 to the under as a favorite, though. So, and he's sitting here as a favorite, but this is kind of a low line when you're looking at a Chicago White Sox team. But Adrian Hauser, experienced pitcher, kind of been all over the place. I think he went to the Brewers, he went to the Mets, and now he's come to Chicago. He has a 2.15 ERA, 1.19 whip. His expected ERA is 3.21 expected. So he's done very well. He hasn't got the victories, of course, because it is the Chicago White Sox, but he is 4-1 to the run line in when he's been the starter. He's also 5-0 to the under. While I do lean towards the under in this situation because it's one of those Thursday matinee games, they got to travel, all this, that, and the other thing. But this Chicago White Sox team seems to show up and keep games competitive and close. And you're going against Eric Fetty, who's just really struggled. Like I said, 1-7 in his last 8 road starts. So I think the run line is the better way to play this one. So give me Chicago White Sox plus 1.5 as the play.
So the pitcher for the White Sox also changed.
Oh, yeah. So it ain't Adrian Hauser either. So it's Burke. See, this is what it is about this show. It's crazy. So even in that situation, though, because I'm just looking at, let's just talk about the line structure here. So if we got Burke pitching, Burke's really pitched, at least from a 5-inning window standpoint, he's really kept the game close. I know his numbers just off the top of my head. And then when you look at the juice on this one at minus 134, if you look at the games at plus 1.5 with the Chicago White Sox, when it's between minus 130 to minus 150, they've really covered those run lines, whether they haven't been getting the wins on this one. So even with that run line structure, I still think it's a good spot to be taking the White Sox, knowing that Eric Fetty has not performed well on the road.
No, with Sean Burke in there, you do want to take the White Sox. He's actually probably their best pitcher at this point. Obviously, a lot of young talent. Of course, losing Garrett Crochet in the offseason at the Red Sox, that guy was absolutely their ace. But I think Burke is probably their highest upside pitcher. And we apologize to you guys for kind of fumbling up this handicap. But these pitchers changed twice in the last 15 minutes as we were prepping for this show. So White Sox are nothing, and we will keep it moving. Next game on the card here, another makeup game in the center of the country. Also in Chicago, Wrigleyville, Cubs hosting the Brewers. Final game of this series in the division. Jameson Taillon versus rookie 6'7", 200-pounder Jacob Mizorowski. That is not a foreign composer of classical music. That is actually an elite stud pitcher for the Brewers, who just threw 5 innings of no-hit ball in his major league debut before having leg cramps. And I was thinking about this guy, 6'7", 200. He must be a string bean. He's competing with Kevin Durant here. That's why he's cramping. He needs to put on a little muscle. He can't sustain the heat in the summer months of the Chicago region. Taillon here has been great at home. I honestly can't figure this one out. When you have a guy making his first road start in his career, it is a bit of a blind toss. Gunz, any thoughts, or are we just blind tossing this one?
It's a blind toss. It's kind of confused. It's a head scratcher because it was a heavy Taillon line going into this one. But you said this kid, tall guy, he throws great. I mean, he was throwing 100+ in that game with movement. So there is a great future for this kid going into. I mean, but he's going into his second start, and originally they projected the line to be quite heavy on the Chicago side. So my inclination was, okay, this is the second start. He came off that great start. I think it was against St. Louis. And now he's going to have that regression point and get humbled a little bit because he is on the road in this spot. So when we originally capped this game, when we did the early one, it was a perfect spot to take Chicago because Freddie Peralta on the road hasn't done very well. He's 0-5 straight up. But we have to look at the cap from the previous day and kind of try to figure out why the line is why it is. I would suspect that they really like this kid for the Brewers, and he may come out here and perform well in Wrigley. Maybe there's going to be resting some batters and some of the positional guys are going to get a day rest when they were going to play on Wednesday. I don't know about this one. It's a little bit head scratcher on this one. This may be something that maybe we can digest a little bit further as we get close to first pitch. Maybe see some of the lineup changes when they get official. And maybe the books are trying to project it themselves and get ahead of the line. We'll see what happens, but I don't have any lean on this one because of just the shuffling of the schedule. It just doesn't create a good dynamic for a good handicap.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of moving parts in baseball recently. Obviously, when you get a rain out and you get a rookie pitcher in his first road start, it's hard to read. If I had to give you a lean, I would look at the over, actually. I think when you saw him pitch so great at home, obviously, as we said, no hits through 5 before cramping. Jamison Tyone has been really a genius this year at Wrigley Field. The line's 8.5. These guys' combined ERA is 3.48. So that you got two guys combined 3.48, and the line's 8.5. And it really is this. It's a game that is displaced from its original time. It's this rookie on the road for the first time, and it's going to be the Heat in Chicago on a Thursday afternoon at 2:20. These are well known for being overs, and they're a pitcher's nightmare. They got to get up early. It's extremely hot, and this kid was cramping at home in a totally different environment in Milwaukee. It's going to be worse on the road. And I think this is an over for one additional reason. He might not make it through 3.5 innings here, or 3 1/3. Yeah. It might be early cramping. And then all of a sudden you get 6 innings from the Brewers bullpen, which is going to be very difficult to sustain and under. So best look in this game for me would be the over at 8.5 Gunz. Any further thoughts?
Yeah. So I always look at when Chicago plays home games, there's something to really key look at is like if the wind factor is going to affect like balls flying out and really not driving up the score, look at the total in that game, because usually you'll see like a 7.5 or a 7, and it usually really doesn't matter who the pitcher is. But you would see a 8.5, 9, 9.5 when you would see that the weather is perfect for the balls to fly out and a lot of runs to be scored. I always love looking at Wrigley games like that when you see like, I was like, that number doesn't make sense as far as the total goes, knowing that these two pitchers typically play at a median of 8.5 or 9 or something like that. That's kind of how I look at the cap on a lot of these totals at Wrigley. So if the line or the total in the game hits 8.5, 9, I would suspect that you're probably going to be seeing runs in the afternoon.
I totally agree. Top spot in this game, over 8.5. Keeping it moving. 2:35 p.m. Royals Rangers also closing this series. We're not going to give you any commentary on this particular game because at this current point of recording, we don't know who's pitching for Texas. It's Michael Wacha on the road. We don't even have a line. So shout to you guys. Dominate this one, and we will move on. Next game on the card, polar opposite from KC, Texas. Diamondbacks, Blue Jays, also closing this series, 3:07 p.m., Rogers Center in Toronto. This is the top spot of the early card. Kevin Gausman at home off a road shutout loss at Philadelphia, a bounce-back spot to where he performs great at home as a favorite, great at home in matinees, and great at home against the National League. And Ryan Nelson, a total gas can for the Diamondbacks. Gunz, I believe you align with that take.
Yeah, I agree with that one, because if you look at this number with Nelson starts, it usually means two things. It means one, he's going to give up a lot of runs, and two, he's probably going to lose the game because he's only had this dog roll against New York Yankees this year. So let me talk about a few numbers here. He's got a 4.14 ERA, 1.14 whip. His expected ERA is right around that number. Then you got to look at the situations. Arizona is 3-0 to the over as a dog versus AL teams on the road. So this is a perfect spot for not only a side on this one, but the total. So you're seeing this line really inflated to the Toronto side is just because Gausman has done so well in this type of line corollary. He's 3-0 straight up in his starts when the total is 8.5 or more. He's 2-0 straight up versus the NL at home this year. A lot of over trends on Gausman too at home, 6-0 to the over in his home start, 7-1-1 to the over in his last 9 starts overall. So he's actually been very good. Actually, Toronto's been scoring runs with Gausman on the round, regardless if it's been home or not. He's also 5-0-1 to the over when he is sitting here as a favorite, and he's kind of a juiced up favorite on this one for a Gausman start. Also got to look at Toronto in this line situation with minus 30 or more. 11-3 straight up in those situations this year, and they're 9-1 to the over in their last 10. So this is telling you everything that's going to be a Toronto spot, and you're going to be seeing a lot of runs here, mostly on the Toronto side. So I like not only Toronto money line, but I like the over in this game as well.
Yeah, this is my top play. We're giving you guys a free play here in the morning. This is a VIP play, and we're doing it because we have a lot of gratitude for you guys tuning in to the morning show. The Shark and the Gun, we've been doing shows for about 5 years now, dating back to around the quarantine, college football, NFL, and baseball. So we really want to bring you guys into the energy that the Shark and the Gun have. And, of course, we love working with J.A., Coach, and obviously the prop master. But this is the Shark and the Gun morning show. So much gratitude for you guys tuning in. Take Gausman at home. Final point on this. Gunz covered all of it. The only time this year Gausman had a home matinee against an opponent from the NL West, same exact line structure. He laid minus 160 on an 8.5 to San Diego and Randy Vasquez. Randy Vasquez, Ryan Nelson, graded by books almost identically here. And Toronto did win that game 14-0. And Gausman, more than most, really is a bounce back pitcher. The guy's a gamer. Honestly, he looks like he's a dude that like smokes cigarettes before the game. He's always chewing gum. Like he's just a throwback dude. He's going to be ready to go. And Ryan Nelson, I got one more point for you guys on this Thursday morning. Last year at the American League, of course, this is interleague, and this is also a time change for Diamondbacks going east. If they were playing at an American League opponent on an early first pitch time, Nelson's stats, 15 to 30 innings pitched, 21 hits, 5 walks, 12 earned runs. Take the Blue Jays, collab with the Gun, minus 140 officially for the show. Final game of the card, 4 o'clock in San Francisco. Closing yet another series on this Thursday. Guardians-Giants, Logan Webb against Gavin Williams. This, in my opinion, is a significant pitching talent gap. Logan Webb is a guy that consistently is in the top 5 of the Cy Young projection in the National League. And Gavin Williams is a very pedestrian road pitcher. I haven't gotten there yet. I could only look towards the Giants. Gunz, any thoughts?
I have a weird angle, and I haven't taken anything in this game here, but I was digging around before the show, looking at these two pitching matchups, and I agree with you. Logan Webb is definitely the superior pitcher in this matchup. But I was kind of looking for a couple situationals based on the line and the total and everything like that. And I think I found a possible angle, and I'll share it with you guys. When you look at Gavin Williams, he's actually pitched well during the day. You look at his numbers on this one. He has a 2.63 ERA, 3-0, 7 starts. Okay, but this is a different dynamic for a pitcher with Logan Webb. This is also the highest dog line that of the series in that game. So that would get in this game. So I would probably not lean towards the full game aspect in this one because it's telling more of a Giants line than it is saying Guardians line. But Cleveland is 1-2 straight up versus the NL this year in those games when they're a higher dog. But when you look at first fives with Williams against the NL, he's only 1-0-1 in first fives, and that only loss came to after 5 innings, didn't have the lead, was against the Dodgers versus Yamamoto. So he's done well in a first 5 inning windows and then not really kept the lead, or at least Cleveland didn't keep the lead for him. With Logan Webb, the one thing that I've looked at here is first fives. When you look at Webb versus AL teams in first fives, he's 2-5 straight up. He's only had the lead versus 2 teams this year versus the AL. The Athletics, we know how bad the Athletics are. And Houston with Wesneski. You look at Wesneski's numbers, he's 1-5 straight up in first 5 inning windows. Now, I'm not saying that Cleveland's going to have the lead here, but there might be an angle, and I just gave you a few statistics that would give you that angle, that Cleveland might at least have a tie after 5, and then maybe things fall apart on the back end. So there is an angle that I believe for a lean. I think Cleveland on the run line in first fives might be a play we can take.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here. There's not much matchup data. I mean, Logan Webb hasn't faced Cleveland, I believe, in years. Gavin Williams has really no matchup data against San Francisco. So this is not batter versus pitcher. We have nothing to really go on. What we can go on really is just how these pitchers perform in the environment. As you said, Gavin Williams, a little scrappy on the road. I do think slightly contaminated, though. He had one really good road start in the division at Minnesota. He hasn't been very good outside of the division. I mean, actually very poor stats. 16 and 2/3 innings pitched, 22 hits, 15 walks. That's over a 2.0 whip, 4 road starts outside of the division, only 11 earned runs. So he's actually gotten away with it. I've written down here fool's gold. He's actually 2-2 road outside of the division with absolutely horrendous statistics. I think he's going to get hit, but I actually think Logan Webb's going to get hit too. Logan Webb has one unique home start this year against an American League opponent on a weekday afternoon. He was a significant favorite just like this particular game, and the total was actually very low in this game too, 7.5 against Kansas City. 8-4 loss. He was terrible. 4 innings pitched, 10 hits, 6 runs, 3 earned. There was an error in there, but still 10 hits in 4 innings. I honestly think neither pitcher is going to perform here well at all. And I think the total here at 7, which of course we love to talk about lines, line functionality, and what that means. Books are clueless in this environment because these pitchers have no matchup data. I really think this is a bad spot for Webb and a bad spot for Williams. My top spot.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, when I was looking at my numbers and I saw that line, I'm like, oh, maybe this is an under spot. No, Logan Webb has gone over the total on 7s. He's gone over the totals on 7.5s, and same thing with Williams. Williams has had low numbers too, and it's more of a team thing than it is a pitcher thing with these guys. But seeing that low total, it doesn't give an indicator that this is going to be a low scoring affair. I saw it as 3-2 to the over when it's 7.5 with Logan Webb, and maybe the same thing with Gavin. That's why I didn't play the total in this one. But you could be right. I mean, we could be seeing something like in that 5-inning windows, seeing them get like a 3.5 line. It could go over, and it could go over like 4, and maybe things get a little bit better in the game, and it gets really sweaty at the end. But yeah, I think you're right on this one. We may be seeing some runs in this game.
Yeah, 100%. So I think the best look in this game would be the over, and obviously the money line is leaning towards San Francisco, but I think Webb's going to struggle in this game. So great conversation, 9 games, and we got best bets. Thursday's theme is money, the shark and the gun, the morning show, MLB player performance. Gunz, top picks.
The two picks, and I think we agree with both. It's going to be I like the Toronto money line, but I like the over a little bit more at 8.5. I think this game is going to be a high scoring affair with Gausman on the mound. It seems like that team shows up for him at the right times, and Gausman's going to give up a couple runs here and there too. So that's going to be enough for the over. I also like that money line, like I said, but the top 2 that I like is 2 totals. I like the LA New York Yankees over 9, 8.5. If you get it on that heavy juice, I think you can get 9 at like -110, depending on what books you get it at. But I think that's going to be high scoring. And I also think the Arizona Toronto over 8.5 is justified.
Yeah. My 2 top plays, Angels, Yankees over 8.5. You get that at -135. The best line at 9 is -105. So that's not terrible either. It's just the difference between a push and a win. Obviously, this is baseball. It's a totally different numerical sport. And love Kevin Gausman -140. Let's put together a small parlay. People are going to be watching this in the morning. And this is Thursday. It's June 19th. We're about to enter the summer. It's baseball season. You guys are at work. It's hot out. Let's put together a fun parlay for you guys. Gunz, give me a feel, and we'll just jump into it real quick.
Hey, I know. I talked about that cap with the Detroit line with Heaney and Skubal going against each other in Pittsburgh. I think that under is justified. I wouldn't mind throwing that on the parlay, even though there's a carryover from the rain delay. Probably these guys are not going to want to hit that game. I like that under 7. Of course, we got to put that LA Angels New York over 9, 8.5 juice if we want to be a little bit more conservative. And then, of course, that Gausman on the mound money line. I like those a lot.
Yeah, those are great. Let's throw in the over that we just discussed in San Francisco over 7.
Yep.
That is Cleveland, San Francisco over 7. Let's also throw in Twins Reds is a terrible game. I really dislike that game significantly. Also, the over between the Brewers and the Cubs. We love that one. 8.5 is our number here.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee, Chicago Cubs over 8.5. That's 5. What other games do? I mean, the Cardinals, White Sox. We don't really like that game. Royals is undefined. We have an angle there. Rockies, Nationals. You know, we said that Dollander is 6-0 to the under. We like the over. I honestly think the game is so sketchy. Like, as much as I really want to take that over because I think 6-0 to the road under for a rookie pitcher is wildly unsustainable. The Nats are just so unpredictable. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen in that game. So I think 5 is good unless you have another one. 5 is fine.
No, let's talk about it because we are recording this at night, and currently I'm watching the score of the Colorado Washington game. It's in the 6th inning and it's 0-0. So maybe the explosion of runs is coming for this Thursday matinee game. And you may be right. That's why that line is at 9.5.
It really is kind of mind blowing because the Nats have defied logic now for 11 straight games.
Correct.
And the Rockies defied logic for 70 straight games, having the worst record since 1899. So the question here is, with these two teams, at what point does the insanity stop? The Rockies proved it took 70 games for it to stop. And now it looks like the Nationals are about to enter that range where they're just totally unpredictable and terrible for like 50 to 70 games.
Or we could go with that one on the over, because now that is looking like an over for tomorrow or a pass. For Thursday. Then we got Chicago White Sox plus a 1.5 with Burke on the mound versus Fetty.
You know, we didn't talk about this in any detail, but I think the 6th leg should just be a big, heavy chalk spot. The Yankees at minus 240.
Yeah. Okay.
With Rodon on the hill. We told you it was a close one in LA. We project Anderson to pitch poorly. That's why we have the over. And Rodon is 2-0 at home in the matinees and also 2-0 at home. That is weekday matinees, and also 2-0 at home against AL out of division opponents as a favorite. And key point, as we mentioned in that particular window, he beat Nathan Eovaldi 1-0 and Tanner Bybee 3-2. They're both very high upside pitchers. Tyler Anderson on the road is a total gas can. The Yankees have been awful literally for a week. This is where I think they explode. That's why we have the over. I think they win. So let's drop that as our last one. Yankees minus 240. And that should pay out about plus 2,000 or in that range. So I'll just repeat it on the screen here as we are recording overnight. We appreciate you guys immensely. 6-leg parlay, the morning show, Thursday, June the 19th, 2025. Angels, Yankees over 8.5. Yankees money line. Pittsburgh, Detroit under 7. Toronto minus 140, Milwaukee, Chicago Cubs over 8.5, and Cleveland, San Francisco over 7. 6-legger. Let's cash. That's the show for this morning. As I mentioned, JA will be on here with Coach Rick in the afternoon. Gunz, a pleasure as always. Give him some words, and I'll close it out.
Yeah, you can just follow us out. We're on Why Lose. You go Why Lose Shark, Why Lose Gunz. We are on Telegram. If you don't know where to find us, there, go into the comment section or in the description. Our links to our Telegram page are there. You can go follow us. We give out free plays. We give out a lot of information on the channels. So please go do that. And make sure as you're watching this video currently on YouTube, you know what you need to do. You need to hit the like button. You need to follow the J.A. Cavalier channel. You need to hit the notification bell. You need to be part of the community of the sharpest information on the planet, the sharpest group on the planet, the Why Lose Network. All right. That's all I got to say. Let's dominate.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great day and cash these tickets. The Shark and the Gun will be back over the weekend, every weekend going into football season on Saturday and Sunday morning. Full card live show with a full live chat, 11 a.m. Turn your notifications on and get ready to dominate. We gave you all the top plays. We gave you the top conversation. It's MLB Player Performance, the morning show, Thursday, June the 19th, 2025. For Gunz, I am the Shark. I got 4 things to say. Stay strong, stay fast, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my